Good morning, dear students. A warm welcome to Kannur Institutions. My name is Sharath Kumar. I teach zoology. Right. So today we are going to learn the first chapters in the zoology topic, that is the animal kingdom. So we have observed many living organisms around ourselves, right? So living organisms includes plants, animals, fungi, microorganisms like that. So the living world has been classified into 5 kingdoms. A scientist called as R.H. Whittaker classified the living organisms into 5 kingdoms. What are those 5 kingdoms? So living world, classified into 5 kingdoms. So what are they? Kingdom Monera, Kingdom Protista, Kingdom Fungi, Kingdom Plantae, Kingdom Animalia. Right? So today we are going to learn about the Kingdom Animalia. We see the Kingdom Animalia. It is the 5th kingdom in Whittaker's classification, right? So, what are the organisms included in Kingdom Animalia? All the multicellular, remember that Kingdom Animalia includes multicellular animals. Okay? In Kingdom Animalia, there are only multicellular animals. So, how many animals have been described so far? So, nearly or more than 1 million species. More than 1 million species have been described so far. Then how do we identify the animals? So, there are different types of animals. The more than 1 million species means, how to identify means the animals are classified, right? Because the animal shows diversity in their structure, number and form. So the animal should be classified. So what is the use of classification? Classification helps to identify, or classification gives a systemic position to the newly described animal, right? So what forms the basis of classification? Let us see the basis of classification now. So what are the basis of classification? I have told you that animals are diversified. Animal shows variations in their structure. The animal shows variation in their form and also in their number. Right. So, but there is some fundamental similarities in certain structures. Right. They show some fundamental uniformity. So, based upon that, the classification has been done. Let us see what is forming the basis of classification. So, let us see first one. Arrangement of cell layers, symmetry, coelom, type of digestive systems, type of circulatory systems, and also type of reproductive systems. Okay, so animals are classified on the basis of arrangement of cell layers, type of symmetry, type of coelom, type of digestive system, type of circulatory systems, and also reproductive system. Let us see the first one, how the animals are classified on the basis of cell layers. Let us see the first one, cellular level of organization. Okay, the first one is cellular level of organization. It is the lowest level of organization. Remember that in the animal kingdom, the lowest level of organization is cellular level. Right? I told you in the earlier animals, in the animal kingdom, all the animals are multicellular. So here, in cellular level of organization, it is the lowest level of organization. Where we can see in that one, seen in sponges. Right? Sponges are multicellular. How are the cells arranged in sponges? In sponges, cells are arranged loosely. Okay, cells are arranged loosely. But in sponges, the nervous system and sensory systems are absent. Remember that. So, if there is no sensory system, if there is no nervous system, what will happen? The animals cannot bring out coordination. So, the cells are performing their own functions. Okay. So, the cells which are performing a similar functions cannot be grouped together because of the absence of nervous system. So, due to absence of nervous system, there is no functional coordination between the cells. The cells are functionally isolated. That means we can see a division of labor at the cellular level. Why the division of labor exists at the cellular level means due to absence of nervous system and sensory system. Right. So, here cells are arranged loosely. Then cells are functionally isolated. So why the cells are functionally isolated means due to absence of nervous system and sensory system. That means one cell is performing digestion, one cell is performing excretion, one cell is performing reproduction, and one cell is storing the food materials. That means the cells are completely performing different functions, and the cells which are performing a similar function cannot be grouped here due to absence of nervous system and sensory system. So, in sponges, the level of organization is cellular level. In sponges, the nervous system and sensory systems are absent. So, in sponges, the cells exhibit functional diversity, or the cells exhibit division of labor, right? Division of labor. So, division of labor at cellular level can be seen only in the sponges, right? We go for the next one, tissue level. Now the second one, tissue level of organization. So, where we can see tissue level of organization. Tissue level of organization is seen in diploblastic animals. Right? What is meant by diploblastic animals? Diploblastic means the cell layers are present in two. If the cells are arranged in two layers, we call that one as diploblastic animals. In diploblastic animals, only ectoderm and endoderm are present, but mesoderm is absent. So it is seen in diploblastic animals like Cnidaria and Ctenophora. Right? It is seen in Cnidaria and Ctenophora. So, in tissue level of organization, cells performing similar function are grouped together to form a tissue. Okay. Here, the cells which are performing a similar function are grouped put together to form a tissue. Why? How the functional coordination is brought here? Because the nervous system right? The nervous system and sensory system are present. As the nervous system and sensory system is present, the nervous system and sensory system brings the functional coordination between the cells which are performing a similar function, right? The cells which are performing a similar function are grouped together to form one tissue. So, tissue level of organization is seen in diploblastic animals like cnidarians and ctenophores, right? Formation of tissue is the first key transition in the animal body plan. Remember that. So, formation of tissues is the okay. So, in the animal body plan, the first key transition is the formation of tissues. So, this is about the tissue level of organization. Now, let us go for the next one, organ level. Organ level is seen in right. Organ level of organization is seen in triploblastic animals like Platyhelminthes onwards. Right? From Platyhelminthes onwards, we can see the presence of organs. So, what is meant by triploblastic? Tri means 3. Here, di means 2. Right? So, triploblastic animals means these animals are having the cells arranged in 3 layers. That means the cells are present in 3 germ layers, that is the ectoderm, mesoderm and endoderm. Okay. So, the cells are arranged in 3 layers. Okay. So, the organ level of organization is seen from where? Is seen from triploblastic animals like Platyhelminthes onwards. So, what is the organs means? Tissues performing similar functions. Right? Tissues performing similar function are grouped together to form one organ. So, tissues performing similar function are grouped together to form one organ. Right? So, this is the organ level of organization. Next, let us go for the next one, highest level of organization, that is the organ system. Right, we go for the organ system level of organization. So, organ system level of organization is seen in higher phyla like Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, Hemichordata and Chordata. Right? So, organ system level of organization is seen in the higher phyla. Right? Specifically, we can say the organ system levels in Annelida onwards. But all the triploblastic animals show organ level. That means organs are specialized. Organs are specialized for a specific function. Remember that. So, here the organ system level of organization we can see clearly from Annelida onwards. That means in platyhelminthes and aschelminthes, the organ system levels are poorly developed. Okay, from here onwards we can see clearly well developed organ system level, but we can include aschelminthes also in the organ system level of organization. Remember that, right? So how the organ systems are formed? Organs performing right, organs performing similar function are grouped into one organ system. So one organ system perform one specific physiological function, right? For example, you take the circulatory system. The heart is there, right? Heart, blood vessels, and also oxygenation of blood occurs in the lungs. So lungs are involved in the blood circulatory system because which is required for the oxygenation of the blood. Heart pumps the blood. Blood flows through the blood vessels like arteries, veins, and capillaries. So all these are grouped together to form one functional unit called as circulatory system. So the organ systems are specified for one specific physiological function, right? So higher neural and sensory system brings coordination right. The highest level of nervous system, highest level of sensory system present in these animals brings highest level of coordination and integration among their function. But the organ system shows complexities. Right? The complexity of organ system is different in different organisms. In some organisms it is simple, in some organisms it becomes more complex. Let us see what are the complexities seen in different group of organisms. Right, we see the different, I told you that the organ system show different complexities in different group of organisms, right? Let us see example as digestive system. In the digestive system, first one is closed gut. Right. Closed gut means the alimentary canal consists of only one opening like this and other end is closed like this. Right. So closed gut is seen in platyhelminthes. It is seen in platyhelminthes. In platyhelminthes, the alimentary canal consists of only one opening. So it consists of only one opening. Right. This one opening acts as both mouth and anus. So in these animals there is no separate anus. Right. So it consists of only one opening which acts as both mouth and anus. So the alimentary canal or the gut consists of only one opening. That opening is present in the anterior end. Okay. This opening is acting as mouth as well as anus. Right. In these animals there is no separate opening. Remember a test tube. Test tube is having opening only on one side. Other end of the test tube is closed. Right. So we call this one as a closed gut. Right. We call that one as a closed gut. Next one is open gut. Open gut. In open gut, you see the animal, the open gut consists of two openings. One is acting as the mouth, other is acting as the anus. So open gut is seen in Aschelminthis. Aschelminthis or in Nematihelminthes. So the gut has two openings. The gut has two openings. One opening which is present in the anterior and acts as the mouth, and another opening which is present in the posterior and acts as the anus. So if two openings are present in the gut which is acting as one acts as mouth and one acts as anus, we call that one as an open gut. If the alimentary canal consists of only one opening which is acting as both mouth and anus, we call that one as closed gut. So if we see, this is the types of what we can say digestive system. Now let us go for the types of circulatory systems. Okay, let us see now the types of circulation. First one, open circulatory system. In open circulatory system, the blood is pumped by large blood vessels into open space called hemocoel. So, in open type of blood circulatory system, blood is pumped by large blood vessels into the open space present in the body called as hemocoel. Right? Then, the blood which is present in the hemocoel is called as hemolymph. The blood present in the hemocoel is called as hemolymph. Hemolymph is similar to the tissue fluid only because it is also colorless. Right. So what is the advantage of open type of circulatory system means all the tissues and the cells are directly bathed in the blood. Then in the open type of blood circulatory system, the flow of blood is slow due to low pressure. So in open type of circulatory system, the blood flows slowly due to low pressure. So that is about the open type of circulatory system. I will give you examples separately now. Now let us go for the closed type of circulatory system. So what is meant by closed type of circulatory system? In this type of circulatory system, blood flows through. The blood flows through closed blood vessels. Okay. So in this type of circulatory system, the blood is flowing through the closed blood vessels. So we know that the heart is the pumping organ. In closed type of blood circulatory system, blood from heart is carried by blood vessels. Again from tissues, the blood is brought to the heart through the blood vessels. That means the blood is pumped by the heart through the blood vessels. Again, the blood returns to the heart through the blood vessels. Right? Then, in this system, the flow of blood is precisely regulated. So, the flow of blood can be regulated only in the closed type of blood vascular system, but we cannot regulate the flow of blood in the open type of circulatory system. Now let us see in which group of animals or in which phyla there is open type of blood circulatory system, and in which phyla there is closed type of blood circulatory system. Then remember one word, closed type of blood circulatory system. Closed type of circulation begins from phylum Annelida. Very important. From which phylum onwards the closed type of circulatory system can be seen means it is seen from phylum Annelida. Now let us see the list of animals which is having closed type of circulatory system and open type of circulatory system. So let us see the list now. First one is name of the phylum, type of circulation and exception. Okay. So let us see the first one, Annelida. In Annelida, type of circulation is closed type. Exception, Hirudinaria, that is the leech. In this open type, the type of circulation is open type only in the Hirudinaria. Next one, phylum Arthropoda, open type, there is no exception. Phylum Mollusca, open type, but there is one class called as Cephalopoda. In Cephalopoda, closed type. Right. Phylum Echinodermata, open type, there is no exception. Phylum Hemichordata, open type, there is no exception. And phylum Chordata, closed type, but there is one exception, that is Urochordata. In Urochordata, it is open type. So this is a list of animals, phyla, which is having open type and closed type of blood vascular system. Anyhow, we learn about all these phylums in this topic only. So in there we have to remember the examples. Don't think that the name of the phylum is enough. You have to learn the examples where the closed type of blood vascular system is present, the open type of blood vascular system is present. Okay. So in the next class we will discuss about the symmetry and coelom. Right. So today I will stop the class. We will see in the next class again. Right. Have a nice day. Thank you.